We are asking you the question, who needs to improve more next season, Jordan Love or the Packers wide receivers? There was a great article from Sports Illustrated kind of breaking down the receivers are definitely worth adding context to Jordan Love's numbers last year. But Jordan Love, even when you adjust for the drops and throwaways, his completion percentage does improve to 74.7%, up from 63%, which is below league average. But 19th in adjusted completion percentage, that's where he falls at 74.7%, which is obviously then below league average. So as a starter, last year, accounting for his drops and accounting for throwaways, Jordan Love completed 74.7% of his passes, according to Pro Football Focus, which accounts for throwaways and drops, which would have ranked him 19th overall. Now, unfortunately, we don't have a membership to Pro Football Focus, or relying on Sports Illustrated, so I don't know who is in front or behind him. But regardless, 19th ain't it. So that's why we asked the question. Right now, it is 51% of you say Packers wide receivers, 49% of you say Jordan Love, which I think is a good split. I'm actually proud of our listeners right now.
Yeah.
You should turn your mic on. There you go.
Yeah, you're going to be you're going to be even more proud of me, Jim. I voted Jordan Love.
Okay.
Reason being, the wide receivers, I get it, right? Yeah, we claimed we had the 3-1s last year. None of them really showed the promise that you were hoping for. Like, Jaden Reed kind of had a similar season the year before. You're hoping for a step up. The only real person that stepped up last year was Tucker Kraft as far as the pass catcher is concerned. That said, Jordan Love has so much there's more responsibility on his plate. Like, the Packers wide receivers, they have to catch the ball. They dropped the ball 25 times last year. They've got to be more efficient catching it. That's one thing they got to work on. Jordan Love, what have we talked about? We've talked about accuracy. We talk about knowing when to scramble and when to throw it away, when to take those free yards and when to throw it away, when to check down and not take that big game hunter deep shot. Like, there's so much more that goes in to what Jordan Love has to do to improve, and there's so much. So to me, it's kind of easier for him to improve because there's a lot of places for him to improve. The wide receivers only have to catch the ball better, in my eyes. Like, they were close. They could obviously all improve, and Matthew Golden should elevate that wide receiver more than just one thing to work on, like passing, like completion percentage.
Am I misunderstanding? You said that Jordan Love is your answer, and now you're saying all the reasons why.
He's got more to improve next season because there's more things that he has to improve. Wide receivers only have to improve their catching.
We have to improve more. Who needs to improve more, not more to improve?
Who needs to improve more? Jordan Love has multiple issues.
So you're doing
Wide receivers have one. Jordan Love needs to improve more. He can't have 6 things that he needs to do better.
Do you get what I'm saying, Jim?
Yeah.
I just feel like you're...
Honestly,
Did I not make it clear that Jordan Love has a lot of things to work on? Like,
I understand, but it also kind of sounds like you're like, the wide receivers only have to fix one thing. It's not that hard to only fix the one thing. Jordan Love has all these things to fix.
Right. So he's got more to
improve. He's trying to split the baby.
Yes, he is.
Yeah. You are, because you're trying not to be like, you're trying to spin it that wide receivers only have you're trying to spin it so neither really have that much to improve. You don't want to dunk on either one of them.
No, Jordan Love's got a lot to improve on.
So, for an example, with his completion percentage, like, go back to college for Jordan Love. His best year in college was 64%, and that was a sophomore. His last year at Utah State, and this is Utah State, in the Mountain West Conference. So this is not the Pac-12, where Aaron Rodgers last year at Cal, he completed 67% of his passes. His last year at Utah State, Jordan Love completed 62% of his passes, and he threw 20 touchdowns to 17 interceptions. The year before was his best year, 64%, 32 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. My point being, he's always been a guy who, inconsistent year to year, but also not a, and when I say not accurate, like, when he is right and everything is on point, he can put the ball anywhere, just like up there with any quarterback in the league. But he's not consistently accurate, obviously. So that's why his completion percentage was low in college, below college average, or right at, so 64% is the college average, according to Google. So right at college average his best year, and then below that, below average. He's been below average in completion percentage his 2 years as a starter in the league. And so that's not just wide receivers. Jordan Love I don't know if it's I'm not going to be a quarterback guru, but he is not consistent with his accuracy, and he is a guy that throws too many picks at times. The 17 interceptions against 20 TDs in the Mountain West Conference is bad. And now he was drafted off that, so obviously he's got talent to improve. But this is a flaw in Jordan Love that I think the Packers might have to start working around instead of trying to fix. Because at some point it might be like, hey, you know what? You're always going to try to get better, but like golf or curling, whatever, like there's certain things. Well, let's do it to golf because it's more universal and you golf a ton. There's certain things when you golf where it's like, all right, yes, if I'm dialed in completely, this is going to be great. But I'm not always dialed in, so the smarter play would be I'm going to try to work around this instead of
so
trying
you're saying the Packers should play the slice.
Right. If you,
like a golfer.
Exactly,
He's
yes.
playing a slice. I know I'm going to slice it. I could aim right at the hole, but it's probably going to miss. Yeah. So, like, let's just play to the side of the hole and slice towards it.
Right, because, like, Matt Hamilton, capable, if he hits it square, and he can do that maybe 60% of the time when he's golfing.
Generous.
And drive it, but just trying to use this comp here, and drive it exactly where he wants it to go, and it's going to be an amazing shot. Or he can play the slice, and it's going to be 70% of that shot, or let's call it 85% of that shot, but he's going to do it 90% of the time. You would take that. So the Packers at some point might have to be working their offense of like, all right, where is Jordan Love's sweet spots? Which is when he was at his best, getting the ball out of his hands quick and accurately. And that's when he was accurate, and that's when he was during that 8-game window, the ball was out of his hand quick. Yes, he had during that window, there was like.
Do you think that's because LaFleur didn't scheme up any like big game to hunt on those plays, so we just took what was available? Because I still go back to that our comment of Jordan Love being a big game hunter. There's got to be a percent or two, and again,
does he get too confident? Like if you get too confident, like this, like he had the 8-game stretch, and then this year he's like, well, I'm gonna I can let it rip.
If he takes those long shots 2% more than other average, like the average quarterback, and then it doesn't go well, either picked or not completed. Like I feel like there could be some issues there. It's more decision making than ability, maybe in some situations.
So I see it. It reminds me, and this quarterback was worse at it, but like Cutler. Mm-hmm. Cutler would at times would be when he was on and would actually just follow the coaching and follow the play. Good. Then every once in a while, I'd be like, I have an elite arm. I'm an elite athlete. And I can make some throws, and he can make some great throws, but he'd also just make a dumb throw and give it away. And Jordan Love, I think at times, he's at his best when he's asked to make like 2 to 4 great wow throws a game, max. And then the rest of the time, be the game, like just get the ball out of your hands into your receivers as fast as possible. And then, yes, some games you might have to make a few hero ball plays, but we don't want that more than like 2 to 4 times. And that's on the coaching staff as much as it is Jordan Love.
Yeah.
But I think, and obviously your mind's eye is different, but I feel like during that 8 to 9 game stretch where he was playing as one of the better quarterbacks in the league, I felt like I was saying during that time he's playing better because he's only trying to make the great play 2 to 4 times a game. And the rest of the time he's just getting it out. Let it rip is a word that Coach LaFleur has used plenty of times.
I think that's part of the reason that the stats, again, not all of it. I'm not saying that he's a really accurate quarterback and he just takes too many chances, but I think it does skew it a percent or two. It might get him to league average if he gains 1.5% because he's checking down instead of trying to throw a hero ball as often as he does. Maybe he gains 1.5%, and then your league average at completion percentage. And now Jim doesn't have anything to talk about, or at least he can't lead with which is below league average, and in college, like below college average, right?
No, he was at.
Amen.
He was at.
And that's fair. Yeah. It's a real stat. That's the way it is, and it's to me, it's more decision making than ability.
An example of like working around it. Josh Allen runs a ton. He is more consistent with the big plays, and he didn't turn the ball over as much last year. So last year he completed 64% of his passes, but he threw 28 touchdowns to 6 interceptions, won the MVP, but he also made a lot of plays with his legs. And so when you're looking at it, that's probably why they're pushing on him a little bit for pushing on Jordan Love for running the ball a little bit, because, all right, Josh Allen had 531 yards and 12 touchdowns last year running the football.
Yeah, I mean, if Jordan Love could take a hit the way Josh Allen could, I'd be confident in that.
But they're the same size, right? I mean,
well, Jordan Love's probably a little bit smaller. But
6'5", 237 is Josh Allen.
We know how fast Josh Allen is. I think Jordan Love is like 6'3".
He's an elite
6'4".
athlete.
I think he's
And
6'4", 218.
218.
It's not dramatically different.
No, I'm actually shocked. I just
Yeah.
feel like
Just
Josh
looks like
Allen is
Josh
just so much
Allen just-
beefier,
yeah.
like in a good way.
Like
He's
a guy
built.
that could absorb a hit. Jordan Love doesn't quite look like he can absorb a hit. I don't want him to.
Again, it goes to Josh just seems to have more natural athleticism
Yes.
running the football. He just looks natural running it.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I've said this back to his first year as a starter. Jordan Love he's like sneaky unathletic. Like a guy 6'4", 218 pounds who can sling it like he can, and at his age, you'd be like, this guy should move more.
Be able to run it a little bit.
And
Yeah.
it's just not a natural. He's just not a natural runner. But like in a weird, like either is Pat Mahomes, but Pat Mahomes is like an alley cat. He's just like impossible to like catch. It's like trying to tackle a chicken. But like, I mean, like Patrick
get
Mahomes, like you watch him, you're like, how is he getting away from everyone?
Yeah.
But he's just like wiggling through everyone, and you're like, all right, I guess he just got 4 yards.
Yeah.
Moving 2 miles per hour.
Do you guys remember what Robert Mays had to say about Jordan Love as a scrambler from the Athletic Football Show?
What was it?
Let's listen back.
Jordan Love ranks 39th among starting quarterbacks. 39th in total scramble EPA. The guy he is one spot ahead of is Jameis Winston. The guy that he's one spot behind is Jacoby Brissett.
Total scramble EPA, for anyone wondering, that's essentially the amount of expected points added that you had based off your scrambling. So he's 39th among all quarterbacks, because I can't even say among starting quarterbacks.
Well, he
'cause
said
it's more
among
than
starting.
Yeah, no. Well,
Well, I'm
some
guessing-
teams have
I'm
multiple
I'm guessing
starting.
39 quarterbacks took a start at least.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or
it
38
must.
in front.
Counting CFL
Including
teams.
Malik Willis. Where does Malik Willis
Malik
land on
Willis
this?
is probably like top 5,
I would think so.
if I had to guess. I mean, when he started those 2 games, his scrambling was the best thing he did.
Yeah. And again, I think that's innate. Like, I think the Packers got to be careful. Just like with leadership, you can't just ask Jordan Love to be like, hey, just go be better running the football in year 6 in the league, and you've been starting quarterback for a long time. You weren't a runner in college either, so just be better at it. I think the check down is probably an easier ask.
I wonder where he was amongst starting quarterbacks his first year as the starter.
Again,
Because-
247 yards.
I know, but I still feel like we didn't have an issue with his rushing capabilities that first year.
It wasn't a liability, but I don't think it was his asset.
30.
No,
I
I'm not
mean,
saying it was
It
his
was a
asset, but like,
liability last year for sure.
Yeah.
for sure,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, but you're right, Mo. It seemed like he took the yards when they gave them to him, and that's all I need. Last year, different story.
Last year was rough.
Yeah, it
Can
was.
only get better.
Just like his knee. It was rough. Jordan Love, he's injured. That's why he wasn't running.
Okay.
It was rough.
So you feel like a golf tie in there? I don't know.
Yeah.
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 It's like my golf game. It's in the rough.